It's done. One of the biggest and most seismic deals of the summer 2026 window has got the here we go. The bomber has landed, and the knock-on effect, the butterfly effect of this deal could be massive.
Danny Welbeck is the perfect player for Chelsea right now, and it pains me to say this because I would have liked Manchester United to go and sign Danny Welbeck. It was all set up for Manchester United. Some people will say that we're sleeping on this and we're not moving quick enough to try and get these deals done because we're concentrating on other areas, and it'll be another critique of the Manchester United ownership. But when you look at this just overall as a transfer itself, this is a very, very clever piece of business if Chelsea can get this done.
Tchouaméni and Camavinga, they could be big signings for Manchester United, but are we going to do it? We do have some transfer updates, also got some striker updates as well, and me and Mars are just going to be getting into the latest transfers for Manchester United because we've hit like a little bit of a stalling point and we need to get going. Well, there's been an update on Tchouaméni because with Tchouaméni, just to get everybody right up to speed, which I'm sure you are, but if you're not, it has been will they, won't be, basically the whole summer. Tchouaméni was the dream signing. That was very much pitched after we missed out on Elliot Anderson. Tchouaméni is the dream signing, is the dream Casemiro replacement. We've wanted him for ages. Then it was Tchouaméni will only leave Real Madrid if Real Madrid tell him that he's not part of the plans. And if that happens, he's very much open to joining Manchester United. Then it was Tchouaméni will leave if Rodri comes in. Then it was Rodri wasn't coming. Then it was Tchouaméni signing a new deal. Then that new deal was never actually pictured or announced by Real Madrid. Now the Rodri deal seems to be back on, and now it's been said that Tchouaméni could also be back on. But the question is it Manchester United sort of allowing this story to progress because it's Manchester United and because we've not really made a massive signing, or is there actually some truth in this? United would love Tchouaméni, but it just depends whether he's going to be available at a cost that Manchester United can do. And United feel like they don't want to go too high on wages, and also we've seen we don't want to go too high on the transfer fee. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I mean, look, first of all, the wages is one thing that I can completely understand, because I think a lot of clubs that have been successful, especially you look at what Liverpool did with their wages. I mean, if you look at Arsenal as well, they only just with Saka recently allowed a player to actually go over that 300k mark, 250 to 300k. So I can completely understand why at this point in time with United, and let's be honest, we are in a bit of a financial difficulty, let's be honest. We're in a bit of financial difficulty.
We're either in financial difficulty or we just don't want to spend, because if you actually look at the money that we're making because of Champions League, if you look at the Højlund sale coming in, if you look at Casemiro's wage going off the books, if you look at actually the money we have to play with, and you go through, I mean, I'm not an accountant, it looks like United could spend 250 million this summer. We're just not willing to do it.
I mean, let's be honest, last season we didn't think we could spend as much as we did. You know, when we got Sesko and Bumo, Cunha, selling Lamins, you know, so we actually spent more. In my opinion, we spent more than I thought we could. But I think, look, considering the point that we're at in terms of we've just got Michael Carrick in terms of like a new manager, you want to kind of give him at least one solid window, because let's be honest, if Carrick doesn't perform by the end of this year, or even halfway through the season, there's going to be real conversations. The chance he might not even make it to the end of the season if he doesn't perform.
Shouldn't happen. Based off this transfer window, shouldn't happen.
But I think you have to give, I mean, they gave it to Amrim, they gave it to Ten Hag, they gave it to Oli. Every manager has had at least one solid window where they've got in at least 2 or 3 very good, decent players. And so I think in terms of that, you have to give Carrick, at least some of the players that he wants. And I think Tchouaméni, I mean, looking at the midfield, I don't think we've necessarily signed that, out and out top midfielder that we've been talking about all summer. And I think Carrick wants somebody to be that player. And yes, Tielemans is great, Santos is great. These are 2 good signings, but we are still looking for that key, I guess, marquee signing. And it really does look like Tchouaméni is the only name left in that hat. So I think they should go and get him.
I think the most likely option that United would do from Real Madrid is Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni is the dream signing for Manchester United. We have tracked him for years. We wanted him before he went to Real Madrid. We signed Casemiro, and Real Madrid signed Tchouaméni as their Casemiro replacement. It makes sense to me. And okay, Real Madrid will have to say to Tchouaméni, we're bringing Rodri in, the game time isn't going to be the same. But that is looking pretty likely. Rodri going to Man City is looking pretty likely. And that is why the thumbnail of this video is just do it. Look, I've had people message me saying, I don't want Tchouaméni, did you see him in the World Cup? I mean, do not take that into consideration. I mean, you can if you want, but the way Deschamps set up oftentimes hurts him. And I also think people don't realise that not every single midfielder has to be all singing or dancing. What Tchouaméni does is he comes in, he's got the physicality, he's got the defensive awareness, he's decent on the ball. I mean, his football intelligence is great. And he comes in as a serial winner with a top mentality at the perfect age. He injects aura into the dressing room and he comes in as a leader and someone who is going to win.
100%. And I think the winning part is very, very important, considering, look, maybe I'm crazy for saying this, but I expect or I want United to be in the conversation of winning in the next 2 to 3 years. I want to at least be in the conversation. And you need to build up that. You can't just, I mean, look at Arsenal, look how long it took for them to become champions. It took them a few years of constant, trialing and error and all this failing until they eventually went and won. And if you want to bring in a player like Tchouaméni who has won before, it might take a season or two before we eventually go and actually win something big. So 100%, I think winning is an important factor, but also I think his profile is just what we need.
It complements Mainu so perfectly.
That's literally what I'm going to say. Like it complements Mainu very much. It actually complements Tielemans a lot as well.
It does. And Santos could play with him as well. 100%. If you're looking for that more sort
Mount.
of, yeah.
And
Mount. He complements everyone.
Yeah,
he complements everyone.
But I think that's how that kind of goes to show how good of a player he is.
Because he's got the aerial ability as well that we going to miss with Casemiro. I'm not saying he's going to be scoring loads of goals off set pieces, but I'm talking about that aerial presence in the middle of the pitch. He wins his aerial battles, which is something we need.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I think Tchouaméni, and again, it obviously just comes down to money. And I've actually said this, obviously not on the show because I've not been here, but I said this to like a few friends in a few group chats. When it comes to the value of certain players, I think it just goes on. It's based on how valuable they are to the club that's trying to buy them. I look at a player like. Let's just say, you the Tottenham sign, Mateus Fernandes or Tonali, they desperately needed midfielders. And I think that's why they went and spent so much money on those midfielders. Where other teams, let's say a City or a United might have thought, are we going to spend 100 million? That might not be the value to our team. But Tottenham said, you know what, we need two very good midfielders, and that's what we're going to go spend over 170, 80 million. And I think for United, we're in a position now where we have to get a midfielder.
And we need a number 6,
And we need a number 6.
For me, Tchouaméni's always been the top one, especially after we missed out on Anderson. Kone's a decent option in terms of what we need. Alex Scott, I just don't think we're going to pay the money.
It's not worth it.
And I would honestly take Belieber, but he's just not top of my list. I think there's so much risk with that.
He just shouldn't be. He should have been the Santos signing. That makes sense. It should have been like third choice midfielder signing. Okay, we've got him in. He can do a job if we need him to. He won't start, every single game. But to be the signing where it's like, okay, we need somebody to actually come in and be a marquee signing for us, it can't be Belieber. It just can't be.
Como really like Joshua Zirkzee. We saw Zirkzee's goal in that game. I mean, probably added a few million to the price tag. And there's been a little bit of murmurs about United going for a striker. I mean, just to bring in a recent Ornstein report, I mean, it's got nothing to do with United, but I want to ask the live chat and you whether you think United should be on this. So literally just as we were going live, Ornstein puts out Chelsea exploring a move to sign Danny Welbeck from Brighton and Hove Albion, terms end in 2027 and Brighton aware of interest. Early stage but optimism on all sides, deal can be done. Quality and leadership appeals to Alonso. So from Kieran Gill and David Ornstein, literally Chelsea are in for Danny Welbeck. And it's very different to the way Chelsea have moved in previous times where they're just going after young players. So they are sort of sticking by the word that they are going to change their approach a little bit. And there's been a few links linking United to Watkins as well. I mean, previously on shows, people have said we should go for Danny Welbeck. I mean, Como liking Zirkzee. I mean, what are your thoughts on all this with the striker situation? What do you think should happen?
Look, I think with United, especially looking at how Sesko performed in the back end of last season, I think we've got to at least give him a good opportunity to be a starting striker for us. I do understand the conversations of going and getting that. I remember we spoke about it all last season, going and getting the Harry Kane or, the...
Why do we never go for the player we should go for?
There are a lot of conversations around that. And to me, I actually think I like Sesko being our starting striker next season.
I like it as well. I've definitely come around to that idea.
I like it, and yes, he's injured now, but I'm hoping he'll be fit for around the start of the season. But Zirkzee, I'm actually 50-50 on Zirkzee right now, Because I think he's a good player, and we watched the game together, and we saw him, he scored that goal.
Don't get dragged in.
He scored the goal, and he was cool and whatnot, and it felt like, there's something there, and I always feel like there's something there with Zirkzee, but it just feels like when he gets on the pitch in a real game, it doesn't translate
There
as
is. Do you know what it is with Zirkzee? It's like, how long are you going to have to wait? I reckon with Zirkzee, in training, he's a joke.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Technically, he's a baller.
Yeah,
I mean,
is.
I saw an interview where United players were like, who's always on the winning team in training, and it was Bruno and Zirkzee. That's who everyone was saying.
Right.
Like, technically, he is a baller, and I have defended Zirkzee and stood up to Kev on Zirkzee on many fan forums, and I've said he needs more game time. Unfortunately, though, I just don't think the Premier League suits his game.
Yeah.
I think for Como in Serie A is where his technical ability could shine. I think he has had opportunity at United. And I think 1 minute you think, wow, there's really a player in there, and the next minute he gets a chance and he just doesn't prove why he should be starting week in, week out. I think if you're looking for that target man striker, which I think United sort of want to play with, to sort of be that experienced goal scorer who's going to go alongside Sesko, I just don't know if Zirkzee's that guy.
One thing I'll say about Zirkzee is, and I do agree in a sense, but to me, Zirkzee is more of a player that will complement other people. I don't think he should be the focal point in an attack. I don't think he played towards Zirkzee, like, okay, this is Zirkzee's attributes, let's play towards that. I think he kind of should come in, almost be like a second striker almost, maybe even like a 10. I mean, we watched him play in that early in the game.
Tens.
I know, but I just mean, maybe he could come, I don't expect him to start either. So he could come on as a sub, like I said, complement the players that are around him, whether it's Mbeumo, Ahmad,
So I've got a
Cunha,
question for you.
and be that kind of player, yeah.
I've got a question for you. I've got multiple questions,
Yeah.
okay? If Sesko, God forbid, and I hope it doesn't happen, so
Yeah.
touch wood, say if he got injured for 4 or 5 months,
Yeah.
do you trust Zirkzee to lead the line for Manchester United and go and score goals week in, week out for United?
Of course not. I don't think anyone does
That's
that.
what but you need
He
another
wouldn't
striker
be,
who
by the
can do
way,
that.
because Cunha would be the striker.
But that's what I'm saying. And Cunha could. That's what I mean. Like, we've got a backup striker to Sesko who isn't even the backup striker to Sesko, because you'd rather play Cunha or Mbeumo there, and so would Carrick. And that's
Good
where
players.
my issue falls a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
No, I understand. I get what you mean.
And I also have a question. Would you rather have, say if Sesko wasn't playing, would you rather have Welbeck starting, or would you rather have Zirkzee starting for you?
That's an irrelevant question, though. We're never going to get Welbeck, so
Yeah, but if why Chelsea going for him?
he's not coming back to United. But Welbeck or Cunha, obviously, yeah, Welbeck scores more goals. Like, we've seen it in the past couple of years. Like I said, Sesko should be the starting striker for United. If there was a second striker, it would be Cunha. But you have to also remember, we might be playing 55 games next season.
That's what I mean.
So we're going to need reinforcements here and there. Even if Zirkzee was to come on for 20 minutes a game, 30 minutes a game, it would still add some kind of value to the squad. And like I said, he should just be there to complement the players that are around him. If we need someone to come in and we've got 2 wingers who are, quick wingers and they can, play off the ball, Zirkzee can come in and actually do that job, and I think he can do it pretty well. However, if you are expecting Zirkzee to come in and score 20 goals next season, he will not do that.
Exactly.
And I hope
So
I bite my words by saying that, but he just won't.
So I get that, and I'd be happy to keep Zirkzee around if we weren't told that we had to sell him in order to buy a striker. And I think we do need to do that. Look, I think last year, and I was all for, like you say, buying a Harry Kane and a Sesko.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted Sesko to have someone there.
Yeah.
But we got away with not buying an experienced striker last year because we had Cunha, because we had Mbeumo, who were experienced Premier League players who could score goals. So they actually really helped Sesko embed in.
Yeah.
And then there wasn't loads of pressure on Sesko to start week in, week out. He developed across the season. And then by the end of the season, like I agree with you, he convinced me that he should be our starting striker going in this season. I think he definitely deserves that chance, and we shouldn't stunt his development. But the reason that could happen is because we were playing 1 game a week. If we had Champions League or Europe, or we were going far in the cup competitions, that would have been a real stretch, okay? So you look at it and you think, you probably do need a striker, not to go and take Sesko's place, but to seriously compete with him this season.
Yeah.
I don't think Zirkzee's going to seriously compete with him, because if he was going to, he would have done it last season. Who is? And that's a question, and that probably leads me on to a better point of Ollie Watkins. Would you go for him?
Ooh, Ollie, no. My very simple answer is no. I don't think Ollie Watkins convinced me last season that he should come to United. I think the start of the season, Ollie Watkins was not great. And it wasn't until the second half of the season-ish. I actually remember I went to a Chelsea game, Chelsea versus Villa, and he scored 2 goals, and I thought, ooh, like, Ollie Watkins is a decent player. He is a good player, obviously, of course. But I don't know. I'm not convinced in bringing in a player like Watkins. I think if we are going to bring in a striker, I wouldn't go for someone like Watkins. What is it?
Haben just said Brian Brobby would be perfect. Ten Hag wanted him.
I'll be honest. I actually like Brian Brobby.
So do I.
I watched him in the World Cup as well. I watched him live.
He's
I said,
good.
wow, he's a beast. Like, I actually really like him.
Do you know why I like Watkins? I know I'm going against you, but that's the point of the debate show. You should see a show we have coming soon, by the way, guys. The reason I like Watkins is I agree with whenever I talk about Watkins, everyone says he's average, he's not good enough. Look, if it was like just Watkins and that was our only striker at United, like, yeah, okay, he's not good enough, right? Watkins is not an absolutely elite striker. But what he is a good, decent Premier League striker, okay? Yeah. And what I'm thinking is, if you went and got someone who's a ridiculous level, of course, okay, we want United to be at the best level all the time. But I am still thinking Sesko can actually get to a really good level. His age, you know, his capabilities, his attributes. I think he needs the game time at United. Watkins doesn't come in and, like, he could bench Sesko, absolutely. He's got the capabilities. But I think that would be like a good share of the game time.
I don't know the numbers for this. How many goals did both of them score in the Premier last season? Maybe someone can put it in the chat.
Yeah, if someone can find that, how many goals did
Watkins and Sesko score last season in the Prem?
Watkins score last season in the Prem, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, Sesko didn't play anything else.
Yeah, someone let us know. That'd be great.